Hey, Brian from Snake Bytes here. I brought the family, the crew. We're here at the Columbus Zoo with my buddy Sean. He's going to show us around the zoo. You're watching Snake Bytes.
Hey, I'm here with Pete Johansson. He works a lot with this cool project, which is the plains garter snakes, which are really endangered here in Ohio. I want to just ask him a few questions about the process and what they're doing here at the Columbus Zoo.
We're working with the plains garter snake, which is an endangered species here in the state of Ohio. The state listed it as endangered in 1974 because of its limited distribution in the state. And the population of plains garter snakes has been declining, so we are working with the Division of Wildlife to augment that wild population. And we do that here in this building by breeding the garter snakes and producing offspring, which then can be introduced to the wild population.
Are you seeing any significant impact on the wild since you started this program?
It's hard to really measure what's going on with the released snakes. We have very few recaptures. It's a very small population, and it's hard to collect enough data on the snakes to see what long-term trends are. But as we're going through this process, we're learning a lot about the actual process of augmenting a population with captive bred animals.
Speaking about the wild population, how do you track them as far as once you let them go? Is there a way that you keep track of what you've got out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Before a snake goes out into the wild, it receives a tiny glass encapsulated microchip called a pit tag. And that pit tag has a unique code, and when you scan that with a reader, that microchip is energized and the code shows up on the reader, so you know what snake that is.
So we just got done learning a lot about the conservation project they have with the radics, and here is an adult female. Tell me a little bit about this animal.
This animal is on display in the reptile building. It's on an exhibit with 2 eastern Massasauga rattlesnakes.
Is this ever in a breeding group, or is this separate from that?
No, this one was actually produced from the breeding group, but we decided that they had a good conservation message and we should share that with the public so they could be seen on display.
I can't help but notice how cool some of these venomous snakes are. It's really cool on this side of the glass just looking at them, but you guys actually have to clean them and feed them, and what's the process that you go about?
Well, obviously you have to be very careful in dealing with these things. You don't want to become complacent. That's a big mistake that a lot of people make, is after you've worked with these guys for a long period of time, you start to let your guard down. And they are dangerous animals. And so something like the Eastern Diamondbacks, you don't want to let them get too close. You know, you want to be respectful of them, know what their capabilities are. I mean, if these guys give you a good bite, you could end up with serious injury or even death.
Basically, you guys really want to leave them in their cage as much as possible. You know, taking them out is kind of something you'd only do if you really have to. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation. Obviously, if the situation dictates that you have to take the animal out of the cage, we obviously will and place them into a temporary holding container that's secure.
Do you guys have a protocol where it's always like 2 zookeepers at the same time working with the venomous, or is one person going to do that job by themselves?
That's correct. We have to have 2 people that are venomous trained in order to open up any of the venomous cages.
Okay. So we're standing in front of the king cobra. How exactly do you guys deal with an animal that is not only extremely venomous, but also kind of a flighty animal?
We utilize what's called a shift cage. And what we'll do is we'll run the water in the exhibit. And that's sort of a cue for her that we want her to come into the back. And once she comes into that box, then we can secure the opening to that from the cage, and then open up the cage without her in there so that we can service it safely.
Well, I obviously see you're holding something that's kind of interesting, and I've never actually seen this. I don't think you can pick this up at your local drugstore. King Cobra, Anti-Venom. Tell me a little bit about this, and why do you guys have it on hand, just in case, or?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we no longer handle her directly, so it's really not an issue, hopefully. But should she escape or should an accident occur, we do want to have a supply of Anti-Venom on hand. And this is the King Cobra Anti-Venom here. This actually comes to us from Thailand. It's not produced in the United States. On the back here, it actually has the tie writing, and it's quite expensive. So, you know, it's a major cost for us, but for safety reasons, we make sure that we have a supply of it on hand.
The one cage that really caught my eye were these amethystine pythons. I've never personally worked with them. How are they to work with?
They're pretty temperamental, pretty flighty, and when you've got a snake this long, that can be a bit of a challenge at times.
I noticed you have 3 animals in here, and they seem to be a pretty big handful. This looks like a job for Chewy. I'm going to be honest with you. He'd probably love this one. Now, have you guys ever bred these, or are they you know, what do you got as far as sex ratio in here?
These are all the same sex. They're all females, but they were actually captive born here at the zoo.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, they definitely have a bit of an attitude to them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is something you'd want to pick up at a pet shop or something like that.
No, this is definitely something that is not suitable for a beginner.
Thank you so much for showing us around this incredible place. I'm sure our viewers will really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, we're here at the Elephant/Rhino exhibit with Adam. Adam, just give me an overview of what you guys do on daily routine, the animals you have here.
Okay, this is actually Phoebe and Biko. This is our 8-month-old calf. He was born March 27th of this year. And this is his mom, Phoebe. Phoebe's about 22 years old. Our goal here at the Columbus Zoo is to breed into a natural herd of Asian elephants. A natural herd consists of all females related to each other with focus on calves. But basically, a lot of what we do here at the zoo is we do a lot of training with these guys. We spend everything we do is based around husbandry. So we spend a lot of time cleaning up after them, feeding them, making sure they're healthy, and training is a big part of that.
Now I heard that a male elephant, its genitalia can actually gyrate without the elephant actually moving. You know, like does it just?
Yeah.
Is it actually true?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a black rhino. They're from Africa. They lost 97% of the wild population in the 80s and 90s. They are poached for their horn. Asian cultures for thousands of years have used their horn for medicinal purposes. Because of that, these guys were almost completely wiped out in the 80s and 90s. There's about 4,200 black rhinos left in the wild. One of the neat things about these guys is they are bouncing back, they are getting better, and it's through conservation efforts. It's through organizations like the International Rhino Foundation that the Columbus Zoo actually supports quite a bit. One of the neat things about rhino conservation, some places will actually hire former rhino poachers to guard these guys. I mean, there's areas in Africa where they have 24-hour guards to protect them, and sometimes it's old poachers.
All right, Adam, I appreciate you giving us all the insight. You have some beautiful animals here, great work breeding. Appreciate everything you do. Just a little insight, a little side note is back in high school, they used to call me the Rhino, you know, because I was really all the ladies kind of a mass, you know, as you can see. All right, guys, it's Cal's question of the week. I want to know what your favorite combination of things is. Could be Batman and Robin, could be peanut butter and jelly, or it could be the zoo and a water park. Like here at the Columbus Zoo at Zoombezi Bay. Kind of sucks because it's a little bit too cold to go, but I'm definitely getting hit up next year. Let me know. Text or video comment below.
So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I want to thank my buddy Sean for having us down and showing us all those super cool animals. If you guys are ever in the Columbus area, you got to check out the zoo. And make sure you tune in next week. We're going to have Jungle Jack Hannah on. Until next time, this has been Snake Bytes.
Be nice.